What up, y'all? Let's get into day 10, week 3 of the Diddy trial, and we're kicking this off with Capricorn Clark. Y'all, I know I've been running behind on these videos, but life has been lifing, okay? We're gonna get caught up, because this case has been a lot. What I can say is this week 3, was where we started to see the breadcrumbs of the RICO get sprinkled in, and most of that is due to Capricorn Clark. Let's get into it. I just want to say I love the way that the prosecution is weaving through this case. I think it is done on a masterful level. Now, I do think it may be hard for people to follow because they're not telling this story in a linear way. I've heard some people say, well, why don't they just let all the victims testify back to back? I think it's because they're telling a story in a puzzle piece type of way and it's not going in a straight line. I've always said that Cassie was not going to be the star witness in this case. I think she is probably the most important witness. She is the alpha, she is the omega, but she is more of a foundational witness to me. I think Capricorn Clark has been the absolute star witness in this trial so far. The way she brought in kidnapping, breaking and entering, threats, forced labor, it really painted a picture of this expanded out far past Cassie and before Cassie. He had all of his employees doing all these wild things, but let's get into day 10, Capricorn Clark. For the past 2 weeks, everybody's been saying, where's the RICO? Where's the RICO? Well, Capricorn Clark walked in and said, bam, here goes your RICO. By the time we finish her testimony, we're going to learn about forced labor, threats, arson, breaking and entering, kidnapping, all types of crazy stuff, all right? Here's a little backstory on Capricorn. Her mom is gone, dad is gone, he has a child who's special needs, so her working for Diddy meant a lot to her because she felt like she had a job where she could provide for her child, healthcare, bad boy is this family unit, this is gonna be great. Now, Capricorn Clark was kind of already known in the industry a little bit because she's friends with Lauren London, so she had access to entertainment events and stuff like that, and she's ran into Diddy in passing. So Bad Boy Entertainment started looking for an assistant, and the hiring firm came across Capricorn Clark's resume, reached out to her. She learned that this was a job for Diddy, so she called Sean up like, yo, are you looking for an assistant? A headhunter just reached out to me for a potential job. Diddy was like, yo, would you work for me? She was like, yeah, cool, it's nothing. So she gets hired. And the first day on the job, she said Diddy and one of his security guards late at night took her to a park and was like, how you know Suge Knight? She was like, I mean, that's my friend's baby daddy. He was like, listen, if you're going to be on some funny stuff, I'll take you out the game. I'll get rid of you. Now, for y'all that don't know, Diddy and Suge Knight has had a long-standing beef dating back to the 90s, okay? This is all intertwined with Biggie and Tupac. So Diddy is like, look, if you over here to do some weird stuff, some funny stuff, I will take you out this game without thinking about it, okay? Can you imagine it's your first day on the job, you in the studio with Diddy, pouring him some water, and he's like, yo, let's take a walk. Y'all end up in the park at midnight, and he's talking about he's gonna take you out the game? Sir, excuse me? This is the first day. I'm already getting threats. So the prosecution was like, well, did you take what he said seriously? And they said she just burst out crying and was like, yes, I took it serious. They said, well, what did security say when Diddy made this threat? She said they said nothing. So she bust out crying on the stand like, yo, I was so scared, but I needed this job. And I know I was not there on some funny stuff. I just wanted to work. So I stayed to prove to myself and to prove to Diddy, I'm a good worker. I'm not here to set you up or do nothing like that. I just need a job. I got a kid. So she goes back to work. Everything is normal. And sometime in the future, her and Diddy end up in an elevator with Chris Lighty. All right. For y'all that don't know, Chris Lighty is an executive. He's managed a lot of people like Missy and Busta Rhymes and 50 Cent. Everybody has always said that Chris Lighty is just a solid dude. So around this time, mind you, this is some years ago, like 2005, 6, 7. So Diddy and 50 Cent been beefing, knickknacking at each other. So the prosecution's like, well, has Diddy ever talked about weapons around you? And she's like, yes. So she tells this story about how her, Diddy security end up with an elevator with Chris Lighty, 50 Cent's manager. And Chris Lighty is essentially like trying to talk to Diddy like, yo, you know, we ain't got to be doing all this beefing stuff. Like, y'all don't really have to be doing none of this. And said Diddy's like, look, I don't like to talk back and forth. I like weapons. I'll fire off. So the prosecution is like, what? He likes weapons? So the next scenario that she brings up, they're in New York. Everybody is about to go to Miami with Diddy. And Jacob the jeweler had loaned Diddy $1 million worth of jewelry. So she's packing the bags, getting stuff ready. And she realizes the jewelry's gone. So she tells Diddy like, yo, this stuff is missing. So Diddy's like, all right, cool. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna head to Miami. Everything gonna be straight. You stay with Uncle Paulie, the security, and y'all figure this out. So her and the security, they start searching the staff. They tearing everything up. They trying to find this jewelry. Then when they couldn't find it, Uncle Paulie was like, well, we need to go to your house and, you know, look through your stuff. And she's like, go to my house? Y'all think I stole it? So they go to her house and she says, Uncle Paulie, them, they just tearing her house up. They looking through her panties. They looking through everything, just tearing it up. And she's like, yo, I have never felt so violated in my life because I would not steal from Pop. So Uncle Paulie, after they finish tearing her house up, is like, all right, cool, don't worry about it. We're going to figure this out some kind of way. So the next day, Uncle Paulie shows up to her house and was like, get in the car. We're going to do something a little different today. So he takes her to this abandoned building. It is owned by Bad Boy. They had just bought it. It was going to be the new Bad Boy building. He takes her to the 6th floor. Now, mind you, this is an empty building. And she said it's a big, heavy dude in there, just chain smoking, sitting in front of a lie detector. She said they told her to sit down and take this lie detector test. And Uncle Paulie, the security, left and locked her inside where she couldn't get out with the lie detector dude. So she's essentially stuck in this abandoned building with this stranger, and she could not leave. She was locked in. So the dude told her, listen, they told me to give you this test, and you have to take it, and you have to get it right, because if we find out you lying, then folks gonna throw you in the river. And she like, throw me in the river? So she's crying. She's trying to take the test. They couldn't get a read on her because she's so upset, and they like, look, the dude like, look, you got to calm down, because if we can't get a read on this test, they're gonna throw you in that river. She said they did this for like 10 hours. And finally they unlocked the door. Security comes in. It's like, yo, come on, I'm gonna take you home. They said they couldn't get a good reading on the test. We're gonna bring you back here tomorrow. We're gonna do this again. She said they did this for 5 days straight, taking her to that building, locking her inside until she could pass that lie detector test. So the feds are saying whenever you lock somebody in somewhere and they can't escape, that's essentially kidnapping. And at the end of the 5 days, her test was inconclusive. So they was like, look, don't worry about it. Just we can't figure it out. We can't get a read. You're too nervous on it. So she gets on a plane, heads to Miami with Diddy. Diddy hugs her, acts like nothing ain't happened. And she's like internally upset. Like, you don't know what I just went through. Like, yo, this is weird. But mind you, she has a kid at home. So she's like, all right, forget it. I'm just going to go to work and do my job. Then they asked her, well, like, how long did you work on a daily basis? She was like, sometimes I would work from 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. Now they're trying to say Diddy had forced labor going on. We've heard a lot of testimony from assistants saying they would be working all these crazy hours. They would not be properly compensated. And that can be a federal crime of forced labor, especially when they're in an environment where they feel like there's threats, there's hostilities. It's a lot of uneasiness. You don't know what's going to happen. So she said she went to go talk to HR like, yo, I feel like I'm not getting paid enough. I'm working a lot of overtime. So HR pretty much calculates everything. And they're like, whoa, yeah, we actually do kind of owe you some money. Yeah, we've been underpaying you. So she takes the paper up to Diddy and was like, look, you know, HR said that y'all owe me some money. Like, how we going to work it out? So Diddy looked her dead in the face, took the piece of paper, ripped it apart and said, get back to work, man. I ain't finna be fooled up with all of that. Crazy. Now, mind you, Capricorn Clark was there before Cassie. Capricorn was there around 2004. And so she would be there setting up the rooms with Diddy once or twice a week with Kim Porter. So was he doing the freak offs with Kim Porter too? Because why are you and Kim Porter staying at a hotel in 2004? You've been with her since the 90s. Like, well, what's going on? She's the mother of your child. Like, why is y'all meeting in hotels and you got mansions everywhere? So Capricorn testified to setting the rooms up, baby oil, all the good stuff. And it always included a bag of his party favors, if you know what I mean. You know, the stuff that kind of gets you a little on cloud nine. And she said when him and Kim Porter would be done, she would be responsible for cleaning the rooms up and it would be just a disaster. And she's been there long enough that she did this with Kim, Cassie, Gina, a lot of the women that he's been with. She also said some of the pills that he have would actually have her name on it. So she's like, hey, how you getting prescriptions in my name? Like, that's crazy. And she said the dealer, One Stop, would be the one who would sometimes be delivering all these things. Now, we've heard the name One Stop testified from a lot of other people who's saying this is the guy who brings in all the goodies when you want to go to Cloud 9. And when he would get the goodies from One Stop, he would give them to his friends, his girlfriends, his staff. He would be distributing. There's a charge for distribution. He would be distributing the party favors to everybody. So far, Capricorn has testified to distribution, forced labor, kidnapping. She also talked about there was an incident in Miami where there was like a video shoot or something up the road from Diddy's house. So Pharrell them pulled up in a boat, picked Capricorn up like, yo, come to the video shoot. We're going to have a good time. So she's just chilling up the road on the island in Miami with Pharrell. She was only there about an hour. Say Diddy calls us like, yo, where you at? I thought I told you never to leave this house. You don't leave this house. You ain't got no life. Get back to this house. So she's like, dang, I was only gone like an hour. Like, you wasn't even there. So she goes back home and Diddy goes off. And it's like, when you work with me, you don't have a life. You don't get to do what you want. I am your life. You don't get to do what you want to do. So by then, she's upset. She goes upstairs. She goes to sleep. And she's just crying. She's over it. She's like, yo, this is crazy. So the next morning she wakes up. She goes to the kitchen. She asks the chef, like, yo, you know, can I have some bacon? And say the chef was like, ain't no bacon. We ain't got no turkey bacon. And Capricorn said she just burst out crying. She just had a lot. She had just lost it. And say Diddy hears her crying and he comes running down the stairs. It's like, yo, what you crying for? And she's like, man, I just hate it here. And he's like, you hate it here? And he's just pushing her out the door. Get out. Get out. If you hate it here, get out. Leave. Go. And so she quit. She was like, I had it. It was just enough. I was over it. I just couldn't do it no more. Then a couple of years later, she came back. But this time when she came back, she was actually working for Sean John Women. So she wouldn't be directly involved with Diddy. And after she was working with Sean John Women, she eventually started to work more so with Cassie. She would kind of help her with her image, kind of get her together. So her and Cassie essentially became cool. And Cassie was like, yo, I'm about to go jogging. I'm going to bring Kid Cudi along. And Capricorn is like, girl, what? Like, why are you texting me that you bringing another man to go jogging on the phone that Diddy paid for? Like, Diddy paid for my phone. Diddy paid for your phone. Don't do this. You know he crazy. So Capricorn was like, I took that girl to Best Buy so she can get a burner phone. If she gonna be talking to Kid Cudi, do it on the burner phone because she gonna get us all knocked off playing these games with Diddy. Capricorn said sometime later in the future, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning, she hears like banging on her door. Boom, 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 boom. And it's Diddy. She look out the peephole like, what's Diddy doing? And she said, he just pacing, going back and forth. He mad. He going off. And he bangs again. Boom, 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 boom. And all she hears is metal. She said she has a metal door. He has something metal in his hand. And it's just clank, 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 banging on the door. So she let him in like, yo, Diddy, what's going on? And he was like, yo, why you ain't tell me about Scott? Capricorn was like, who is Scott? He's like, Kid Cudi. And she's like, oh, that's Cassie friend. And Diddy is so upset. He's like, yo, put your clothes on. I'm finna go to this man's house and I'm finna take him out. And she was like, nah, I'm not going to be involved in that. He's like, yo, get in this car right now. We're about to go to this house. I don't care what you want to do. Get in this car. Mind you, he has a weapon. He has security with him. So she's scared. She's like, oh my God, let me just put some clothes on. Let me get in the car with him. This is another instance where the feds are trying to say he forcefully kidnapped her. So they get to Kid Cudi's house. She's in the back. Diddy and the bodyguard go inside Kid Cudi's house. She calls Cassie like, girl, I'm in this car and Diddy is at Kid Cudi's house and he's threatening to take him out. So in Capricorn's mind, she thinks that Cudi is in the house, but come to find out, Kid Cudi is with Cassie. So Cudi hears them talking on the phone and is like, yo, like, what's going on? What you mean he at my house? And Cudi like, man, forget it. I'm gonna go over there. By then, Diddy gets back into the car. He snatches her phone and like, who you been talking to? Who you been calling? He calls the number back and it's Cassie's burner phone. And he loses it again. Oh, Lord, he's going crazy. He's losing his mind. He pissed off. Where's she at? Where's she at? Why she got this different phone number? He tells Capricorn, listen, you better go get Cassie and you better make sure she gets back to this house right now. So he tells her, listen, we finna go to my house. And when I get there, you better get in the car, go get Cassie and get her back to this house ASAP. So Capricorn gets in one of his little like burn car, little undercover car, little low-key, little Honda Civic, Toyota, something like that. Nothing too flashy. And Capricorn said before she left, Diddy was like, and both of y'all better tell Kid Cudi he better not call the police and say I was involved in none of this or I'll take all three of y'all out of the game. So she goes, she picks Cassie up and she tells Cassie like, look, girl, we got to call Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi cannot tell nobody that Diddy was involved in this or he gonna hurt us all. So they call Cudi, tell Cudi, look, don't tell nobody. And that's also when Cudi called the police. He never got Diddy involved. He never told the police anybody's name. So Capricorn takes Cassie back to Diddy's house and they say Cassie didn't get but 1 foot in the door and Diddy just karate kicks her back out the door. Boom, get out the house. And they say he just starts wailing on her, just goes off. He is being very violent with her. And he tells Capricorn, hey, you can get out. You can go. Now, mind you, this was a while ago. This was before Uber and Lyft was really like a thing. So Capricorn has to walk all the way back to her house, calls Cassie's mom. She's crying. She's like, yo, this dude is getting physical with Cassie. Please call the police. I can't do it. If I call, he's going to hurt me. So she sees Cassie a couple days later. Of course, she's bruised up. And she said for at least a year, every week or so, Diddy would just look at them two when they're together and be like, I can't believe y'all did that to me. I should take both of y'all out right now. Y'all really tried to play with me. So he was pretty much insinuating like, Cassie, I can't believe you would like talk to Kid Cudi. And Capricorn, I can't believe like you would keep this information from me. So he would just randomly have flashbacks and be like, I should take both of y'all out right now. Cassie, I should slice your face open. I can't believe y'all did that to me. Yo, Diddy was wildin', bro. Diddy was out of control. So after that whole incident, Capricorn Clark calls Harv Pierre, which is the head of Bad Boy, tells him what happened. And Harv was like, listen, don't worry about it. That's just Diddy being Diddy. Just chill out. It ain't that deep. So Capricorn is like, bro, I had to put in some vacation time. I needed some time off. It was a lot going on. She said when she came back to work, they fired her. They told her, you put your vacation in wrong, so you got to go. Mind you, she's been working there for years. She has never taken a vacation, and they fired her. And we all know that sounds like retaliation. Y'all just fired her because y'all mad because she told Harv Pierre what happened, so y'all got rid of her. Now, mind you, she's distraught because once again, she has no family. She has an autistic child, no job, no health insurance, no way to pay for her home. And Diddy pretty much told her, girl, you'll never work again. Fooling around with me, you'll never get a job. She said when she left, she tried to work at Interscope Records, and Jimmy Iovine wouldn't hire her because he said something like, yo, I ain't hiring you because of what you did to Puff. She tried to go work at CAA, the talent agency, said Diddy showed up at the interview, tried to sabotage the job. So she's pretty much like, yo, even after I left him, he was just terrorizing me. She's like, yo, this dude completely blackballed me from the entertainment industry from getting a job. So far with Capricorn, she has established distribution, witness tampering, forced labor, kidnapping. Like, Diddy, this whole case, when you have a RICO charge, you only need 2 predicate crimes to get a RICO. And her testimony alone gave us 4. And that is why I think Capricorn Clark has been the star witness thus far, because she was there for so long and she was involved with so much. So then Diddy's team comes up for cross-examination. And the first thing they ask her is, did you send Diddy this message back in 2021 saying when y'all first met you had a crush on him? So they're trying to paint her like she kind of had a thing for Diddy. Then they pulled up another email asking Diddy, why won't you forgive me? You forgave Cassie. So Diddy's team is trying to paint it like, were you jealous of Cassie? Like, yo, like, why are you emailing him about Cassie so much? They're like, if you had such a horrible experience working for Diddy, why are you begging him for forgiveness? Why are you wanting your job back? It was so terrible. Why would you want to work for a monster? So was it really that bad? Or are you exaggerating on the stand? Wasn't you trying to work with Diddy just last year in 2024, even after you heard he got in trouble? She was like, look, I was there before Cassie. I felt like him getting with her through the business off, things were different. And if I could help in 2024, I was willing to do that because I wanted my job back. Now, y'all remember when Capricorn Clark got fired for taking vacation? Well, we found out that she actually got a settlement for wrongful termination, which she probably deserved. So when they fired her, she went and got a lawyer and sued him. So Diddy's attorneys was like, after you left, you still kept calling Diddy. You wanted to work for him. You wanted to be next to him. And she was like, listen. A part of our agreement was when I got my lawsuit, I got my settlement. Anytime I needed a job recommendation, he was supposed to fulfill that for me. That was a part of our settlement. So that's also why I kept calling him. To me, it looks like When Diddy does people wrong, he just pays them off. And she was just calling to get him to fulfill his end of the agreement. Then the lawyer says, well, you told everybody during the Cudi incident that you called Cassie. Why didn't you tell us that you actually called Laura London first? She was like, well, nobody asked me about that. And he was like, well, if you were so concerned, why did you call Laura London first instead of Cassie? She was like, honestly, I didn't know if Kid Cudi was in that house. I didn't know what was going to happen. So if anything went wrong, I wanted to call my friend Lauren just in case something happened to me or anybody, somebody outside of the Diddy camp would know what's going on for my personal safety. So that is why I called Laura London first. Then I called Cassie. So they tried to trip her up, but Capricorn was on it. Capricorn held it together. Even though she would bust out crying every now and then, she had a comeback for him. Diddy's lawyer was like, you really didn't care for Cassie, huh? You didn't really like her. And Capricorn said, I didn't like what happened when Cassie became Diddy's girlfriend because she kind of started to turn into a little mean girl. She was treating me like, her little do-girl. And the things that she was doing was jeopardizing all of our jobs, jeopardizing everything. She said, I knew Cassie and Diddy had a toxic relationship. And yes, I would tell her to leave him. And said Cassie told her, well, where am I going to go? Jay-Z's already taken. Now, everybody took that as Cassie saying, look, hey, there's only one other billionaire, and that's Jay-Z, okay? Who else can I run to? I didn't take that as she was looking for another billionaire. I took that as her saying Jay-Z is probably the only person I could be with that Diddy wouldn't run up on. Because every time Cassie tried to leave and date somebody else, he would run him off. He ran off Cudi. He wouldn't let her talk to Michael B. Jordan. So I took it as every time she tried to leave and get a new boyfriend, Diddy would sabotage it, Diddy would ruin the relationship, and maybe Diddy didn't have enough power to do that to hold. But that was Capricorn Clark's testimony. I think she was the strongest witness. They couldn't really get her on much. She just told her truth. She just wanted to work and maintain her lifestyle. And it sounded like to me, Diddy ran bad boy like he was in the mafia, okay? He did. He thought he was a gangster. But how do y'all feel about Capricorn Clark's testimony? Leave your comments below. Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace.